Labs Math. And the reason is, let me go ahead and look right quick. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up, and let's see how many of y'all are registered out of 29. Out of 29 people, let's see how many's in here today. 25. Wow.
Hubert.
Yes.
Or Professor Hubert. Does it by chance say my name? Because you remember, like I told you last class, I used my old TCTC, and it still got me in there. I just didn't know if it was.
Well, that's what I'm fixing to check right now. I'm going to see how many people have registered into My Labs Math, and you'll see it on the screen here in just a second. Y'all are 130. And I'm just going to look right quick and see how many out of 29. Let's see, grade book. They put these things, they need to get one uniform way of doing things. Okay. Oh, 27. So we only got 2 or 3 people that are not on it. And Mr. Wood, you are in there. These are the people that are registered. So everybody has registered except for, really, I think it counts me. Let me see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 28, 29. So it doesn't count me. So there's 20, 14. I guess there's 27. Yeah. We only got 2 people that haven't registered. But there are some of you that are right out of high school that's never seen My Labs Plus or My Labs Math. It's the same thing, just one's older, different. You got to have a different account. And I'm going to get into that in just a second for the 2 people that haven't registered. All right, so we're going to go to Blackboard. And I'm going to go what I went over the other day, but I'm also going to go into My Labs Plus and tell you what everything and tell you how I do things. Because right now, all of you should be reading the review section and going over review problems in the review homework, which I will get to in just a second. Log in and look for your class. Since it's very user unfriendly, we'll have to go through and take 5 minutes out of our time to try to find our class, because we teach 6 classes and 3 of them are up here and the other 3 I have to go find. It's cutting edge technology here, people. Yep, I'm gonna have to wait a minute because it's not there. So y'all bear with me while I wait for your class to load. Do y'all have the same issues with Blackboard as I do? Okay, nobody's going to talk to me.
Yeah, I do sometimes.
There we go. Now see, I came down here before and y'all wasn't there. So okay, so there's nothing on Blackboard because I don't use it except for that. So you click on My Labs Plus. Click on My Labs Plus again. Click on 130, green button. 130, green button. Now it's going to ask you to create an account. Just ignore this. It's going to ask you to create an account. And I tell students, if you're going to create an account, make it exactly like your Pearson My Labs Plus account. H. McClure at tctc.edu. And I just cut this off and I use this, whatever that is on your Tri-County Tech email, and then use your T number with a capital T and no spaces for your T number. I mean, for your password. That's what I would use. And make it as similar to your My Labs Plus account as you can, so therefore you don't forget it. All right, once you do that, it's going to ask you to accept the conditions. You hit accept, and then you click on the orange button. When you click on the orange button, you have registered into My Labs Math. You're in. So now you can go out of Blackboard and you can go to the website and pull up My Labs Math and click on Pearson and save this website to your desktop and hit sign in and type in your username and password and click on 130 and there you go. Now, once you're in 130, I want you to write down the following buttons. I want you to write down assignments, because we're going, this is how you're going to write down assignments. You're going to write down e-text and gradebook. Now, since I've already done this, I'm going to write it down. Let me move this over a little bit. There we go. I'm trying to make this where y'all can see, so just bear with me. There we go. And where is the sheet that I'm trying to find? Right here. I got to fix the resolution. For some reason, my settings, I put the resolution in there and it will not stay. So I have to fix the resolution. There we go. All right, there is what we're going to go over. Now, I know that you were sitting there going, why in the world does he have to tell us what my grade book is? Does anybody want to answer that? Anybody? Nobody wants to take a guess at why I'm showing you the grade book?
So people don't email you and ask their grade.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that was Miss Holcomb, wasn't it? Or Miss, who was that?
It was Miss
Hollister.
Hollister.
Okay. That is 100% correct. Yes. People email me at the end of the semester and they ask me what their grade is after they have gone over everything and I have gone over all these buttons. They will ask me what their grade is and I will not reply. Okay, so if you write me an email and I do not reply, chances are I've already covered that information. Now, for instance, I got an email from a student one time that said, I'm not going to be in class, blah, blah, blah. Will you let me know what I'm going to miss? Did I reply to that student?
I'm sure you didn't, because
exactly. Why did I not reply to that student?
he should have had everything right there outlined in front
with
of him.
With the outline, and what else goes with the outline? The videos.
Yes, so you could also join another class. You could also join another class too if you need to.
Exactly. My videos cover everything. Okay. So please don't do that. All right. A student emailed me one time and said, I got a doctor's appointment. Will I be missing anything? This was last semester. Dentist appointment, I think. I did not reply. Because if I covered first day of class Thursday, I'm going to cover the second day of class today. And that means I'm going to start on math either later today, I doubt it, or Thursday, I'm going to start with the review section. Simple as that. I mean, it's not rocket science. Anyway, the grade book is your grade. When you go to your grade book, you hit show calculation. And there is your percentages. Now, there are quizzes with your homework and your test. I do want you to take those quizzes as well as the pre-worksheets. They all count for your grade. Everything that's on your homework and quizzes and tests, they count, except for, I'll show you those in just a minute. I'll show you. But the quizzes do count. There's 4 quizzes. And they just want to make sure that you understand what you did as far as the homework. All right, so I'm going to go there now. And that is grade book. Well, let's go over the e-text next. E-text. We are in the review section. So here's the review section. Review 1. And I'm going to go over 2 things here. I'm going to go over the e-text, and I'm going to go over study plan. E-text is where you pull your book up. Okay? Hold on just a second, please. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to, well, I didn't answer it. I told my son to call my mother. My mother called and I can't answer it. Anyway, all right, so an error has occurred. That's nice. Hit it again. That's the only time I'll answer the phone is when my mother calls, because she's, like I told you before, she's coming out of some ill health, and she's doing a whole lot better now, but I have to check to make sure everything's okay. All right, there we go. There it is. I will go ahead and write this down. Each, and I'll go over here just in case you can't write quick. Each section is around 10 pages. Each section is about 10 pages. Now, why do I tell you that? Well, some people don't want to buy a book, don't want to buy a used book, don't want to share a book. That's fine. They want to print the book by sections, and that's fine too. Because if you look at your outline, which is very important, that's your most important page that 2 of you probably printed out, which I appreciate it. So I'm going to go to the email, and I'm going to print that and bring that up, because I know dang well some of y'all didn't print it out like you were supposed to. So 130, and I'm just going to go to first email, syllabi. That's not it. Yep, that is it. Schedule. There it is. So there's 5 sections. So 5 times 10 is 50. Printed on the back of the page, that's 25 sheets. So for Unit 1 review, you'll have 25 sheets that you printed out, around 25 sheets. So you would make a notebook and call it Review Unit 1. And instead of having a book, you would have 25 sheets of paper in a notebook. Now that's up to you whether you want to do that or not. I can barely get people to print out this outline. All right. And their syllabus, much less 25 pages. Has anybody got a question?
Yeah, I do. The outline that I was looking at didn't have the dates on it at all.
Yeah, I don't put the dates. Don't look at those dates.
Oh, those aren't accurate?
No. In fact, I tell these teachers, why do y'all put dates? That's just more work. I don't know why these teachers do this.
Yeah, you say
because one, you can't stay by the dates, because you never know. Miss Holcomb or Mr. Wood may send in 10 questions. And the next time we meet, Mr. Neininger may send in 2 questions, and Mr. Palmer may send in 5 questions. you don't know what your students are going to send you. So I can't tell you that I'm going to be in review section 5 on 8/20. That's ridiculous. So ignore those dates, ignore the names. You know, I'm not Dr. Bender, okay? And if I'm not Dr. Bender, chances are these are not correct anyway, okay? So anyway, thank you for bringing that up because I didn't notice that until today that these dates were on there. Just ignore those. We're not even in August. Isn't that August? What's the 8th month? Isn't that August? I think it is. So anyway.
Yeah, that's August. That's my birthday.
Okay, thank you. All right, so right here, that's how you know what classes are being taught. It also lets you know what reading and what homework you're supposed to be doing right now. And it also lets you know, as far as printing out your book, what you need to print out. A lot of people say, well, Hubert, why are we supposed to be doing? This is a what? What section is this?
Review.
Review. Everybody should be working on this or reading it because all of you should know this material. Now I'm going to go over it. I'm going to spend a couple of classes going over it. That's it. So you better send in those questions. All right. Let me get out of that. I'm going to leave that to the side because I'll probably pull it back up. And let's get back. There's that. Then you can print out the e-text by hitting those 3 dots and print this page. It's only page by page, so it may take you a while, but it does save you from having to buy a book by printing these out. So that's up to you. All right, so that takes care of the book. Study plan. What is the study plan? Extra problems that do not directly affect your grade. What do I mean by directly? All right, think about that for just a second. Hold on just a second. I'm going to mute my microphone. Sorry about that. Okay, so study plan. What does directly mean?
That the assignments from study plan will have a direct impact on your grade.
In other words, if you miss one or get one right, it doesn't calculate into your grade. But why does it indirectly affect your grade to the positive? How does it go ahead?
If you do bad on the study plan, you're probably not going to do good on the homework.
And what's the other side? If you do good, if you do extra problems, that's considered extra what's that word? Extra work. Okay? Extra practice. That's what that's called. What's the effect of extra practice and extra work? What's the end result of extra practice and extra work?
Headache.
Success.
There we go. Mr. Abdallah, you are a loser. Mr. Wood, you are a winner. Okay? Mr. Abdallah is going to end up in a ditch somewhere. That was quick, Mr. Abdallah. I give you that. Headache. All right. Extra practice. That's good, Miss Holcomb. Extra practice indirectly affects your grade on the positive side. Okay? Y'all don't listen to Mr. Abdallah. Okay? He's on the dark side. Right, Mr. Abdallah? All right. So, calculate and assignments. Assignments. What do you think assignments are? do I get emails that say, where are the homework? Where is the homework? Yes. I will get an email probably next week, and the student will ask me, where is the homework? There is the homework. I've already set it for you. There's the homework right there. Homework and test. That's what I test you on. That's what makes up the grade in this class. The homework and the test. Luckily, y'all don't have a project. Thank God. Because they're trying to put projects in every one of our courses. And when I say they, I don't mean the math department. I mean some bureaucrat is trying to put projects in every one of our courses. So I'm not going to talk about that because that gets me aggravated. Okay, so to make a long story short, if you do the homework and you do the test, then you will be okay. Look at here. See this right here? Test. You toggle whether it's homework or test or all assignments. Now, when you do tests, there's nothing there because your instructor has what? Not created a test for you. Your quizzes that I told you about will come up when I assign them. They only are in the numerical chapters. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. They are not in the reviews, okay? So when I assign the Chapter 1 material, you will see a preliminary worksheet, which is part of the homework, and you will see a quiz, a post-quiz for Chapter 1. Those are part of your grade. So make sure you look for those. All of my stuff that is for your grade will be in this area up here. These are not part of your grade. The students can use these just like the study plan. So you need to make a note. Sample tests and quizzes are like the study plan. They will help you as far as exposure to more problems, but they will not hurt you or help you as far as calculating into your grade. So that's assignments. Now, I'm going to go directly to the homework because that's the part that you may not be familiar with, especially if you're coming right out of high school, because you may not have had exposure to the way we do things with my lab's math. So I'm just going to pick a section and pick a problem, and I'm going to pick one that I want, that has what I want on it. And this one's good. I guess as good as it's going to get. Okay, it says this is a homework problem, and it says find the slope, blah, 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 blah. Find the equation of a line, blah, 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 blah. Find the y-intercept, blah, 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 blah. Let's say you're doing a problem, and this is in all the units, and you're doing this at home, and I'm showing you from the aspect of you being at home, doing homework, and you don't know how to do it. Well, what should you do, Mr. Abdallah? Should you try and strive, or should you quit?
Try and strive.
Oh, so now you're going to try to be a winner. Okay. Okay. The headache, and then you're going to strive and strive. Okay. I was going to say quit, but you don't quit. You hit question help. Now, here is the things that I want you to write down with these. Hold on. Help me solve this. Help me solve this is basically the first thing right here. Help me solve this is a guided tutorial. It will show you step by step, but it will also ask you what? Questions. How many of you have had a teacher or a tutor that will ask you 15 questions before you get to the final answer? That is what a guided tutorial is. How do you solve for 2x plus 6 is equal to 10? What are you trying to do? You're trying to get the variable by itself, Hubert. That's correct. How do you get the variable by itself? Well, you got to get rid of that 6 first, Hubert. That's correct. And how do you get rid of a positive 6? You subtract 6, Hubert. Well, what if you subtract on one side? What are you supposed to do on the other? Oh, I'm supposed to subtract 6 on the other side too. Yes, that's correct. Now, what happens after you do that? You get 2x is equal to 4. What do you do to undo multiplying by 2? I divide by 2, Hubert. And if you do it on one side, I got to do it on the other side, Hubert. And x is equal to 2. Now, I got the final answer, x is equal to 2, but I asked about 8 questions during that whole process. That is a guided tutorial. Who would use a guided tutorial? Someone that's never seen the material. Now, all of you have seen most of the material in the review section. All of you have seen most of the review material in the review section. So you're not going to probably use guided tutorial very much or help me solve this. You may, but you may not, because most of you have seen this material before, and I guarantee you there's a couple of you that probably invented it 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. All right. So with that, the next one, view an example. What is view an example? View an example is the same thing as help me solve this, only with view an example, what do they cut out? They cut out the questions. Okay, write this down because I don't want to hear it when y'all say, or I don't want to hear these, well, what's the difference between view an example and help me solve this? I have no earthly idea. Just show me without the questions. Who uses view an example? The people that use view an example are people that remembers the question, but not all of it. They remember doing it in Math 101 or 102, or they remember doing it in Algebra 1 or Algebra 2 or Pre-Cal, but they don't remember how to do all of it. That's who does view an example. Well, what if you're a visual learner? Then you do the video. You do the video or the graphic tutorial. So I need you to write down video / graphic tutorial. Because some of the questions have what's called a graphic tutorial. And they're both for the visual learner. The student that likes to look at a picture or watch a video instead of being explained or someone explaining it to them. A lot of males are visual learners. They've had a father or a father figure or a guardian that always said, just let me see the picture. I don't need directions. Okay, that's where a lot of it comes from. But a lot of people are visual learners. And then you got your readers. Oh, you hit the button and it plays. Oh my gosh, she talks slow. And that's video. Textbook, that's for the people that like to read. And those people that like to read the whole book and War and Peace in 2 days, it takes you in the book where this is brought up. And you'll get there in just a second. Here is the area down here. Starts off with slope. And the next page finishes it. There we go. What if I want to print it? If I want to print the whole assignment, print it out. Print the whole homework assignment. If you want to go old school and do paper and pencil, that's fine. But Do not play around with the homework on the computer if you're going to do the old school. What you do is you print it out, you do the work. After you get all the answers, you go back into the homework and type in the answers. Why do you not play around with the computer homework while you're doing it old school? Anybody want to take a stab at it? Why do you not play around with the homework problems in the computer when you're working old school? Why not? Because the computer problems in the computer, they will algorithmically generate after you put an answer in for them. So let's say you're doing number 1 on old school, and number 1 says y is equal to 2x. And you go back into the homework and you do that problem and you get it wrong, and it turns it into y is equal to 5x. Now your old school problem doesn't match up with your up-to-date problem. So that's why you don't do both of them. You pick one, you do it, then you go in and type in the answers. Does everybody understand that? Yes. Ms. Babinow, the questions do algorithmically generate. Okay, so don't go into the computer questions and play with the computer problems while you're doing the printout old school. Don't do it that way. Okay? And that takes care of all the things that will help you at home. Well, what if you work on the problems and you go through all of these and none of them help you? That's when you use this one. Now, I'm going to write this down because this is a pet peeve of mine. Ask my instructor is your way, the student's way of asking me for help. Now, I have enough degrees and enough credentials that I can pass for a tutor. I have enough degrees and enough credentials to hold office hours. The reason I'm telling you this is because I have students that will walk up to me the 3rd day of class or the 2nd day of class, and they will say, I've already got me a tutor for this class. Well, that offends me, even though I'm not easily offended, because you haven't given me a chance to teach the material. You said you already got a tutor. You haven't even given me a chance to explain the first problem. It's all about conditioning. A lot of teachers suck. I understand that, but I don't. Okay? I've told you before, I believe I was put on this earth for one purpose, and that is to teach. Because I'm not good at very much, but I think somebody blessed me with being able to teach. Me and my sister both. And I think it's because we were taught to treat others the way we'd want to be treated. And I think that has a lot to do with it. So I ask students to send me questions. You hit Ask My Instructor. You send a message. Okay, the reason I did that is for a reason. I'm showing you that this is real time and I didn't send this question 20 minutes before class. You hit send. Time goes by. Thursday rolls around. I start class, and the first thing I do when I start class, listen to that. I have a work email. And I go to 130, my 130 folder, and for some reason it's not sending them there. So I go up here, and there is, okay. Tri-County Tech. Log in every 3 seconds. Let me see if it's in 130. Okay, it came to my, there it is. There it is right there. I don't know why it didn't go to 130, but some of them do, some of them don't. All right, anyway, there is the question right there because I typed in all that junk. And I click on that, And that takes me to your question that you had the day before or the night before. It takes me to that question. Now, those of you that's had me before, Abdallah, Babinow, Holcomb, Hollister, I can't remember, Melnix, y'all have had me before. Tell these people that I do go over their questions. Tell them.
He does go over our questions.
Thank you. And he's not paid to say that. I don't want you going out and hiring a tutor. And plus, you got to watch it with a tutor, because a tutor will teach you different ways, and it may confuse you when I show you my way. I show you my way, or the way that I think is best. Then you tell the tutor, this is the way it's supposed to work with a tutor, and then the tutor shows you only that way. That's the way it's supposed to work. If I show you multiple ways, then the tutor is allowed to show you multiple ways. If I say this way is best, then the tutor should say this way is best. If the tutor was a teacher, the tutor would have the credentials, and the tutor would have the job of being a teacher. I love tutors. I was a tutor myself, and they are very valuable. But like everything else, there's some tutors out there that are wannabe teachers, and that's like a Barney Fife in a police department. That is not good.
Very true. Very true.
Okay, how do you know that, Mr. Wood?
I've had that experience myself.
Okay.
Not as a tutor, but I've had a tutor, and I've seen that first person. So
Okay.
firsthand.
It is a bad apple in a bag full of apples if you have a tutor that is a wannabe teacher. Now, there's nothing wrong with a tutor that is studying to be a teacher that realizes they're not a teacher yet. There's a difference. When a tutor thinks they are the teacher, that is not good. And I think y'all understand what I'm talking about. Somebody that's tutoring, but they're not going to school to be a teacher, or they don't have the credentials to be a teacher, but they think they are the teacher. That is not a good thing. So it makes sure that you understand that I will go over these questions, but the squeaky door gets the what?
The grease.
Good job. Your parents did very good. Not like these other people. I say the squeaky door gets the blank, and they look at me like, what? Okay. There's called idioms, and they're very helpful. The squeaky door gets the grease. If you don't ask the questions, what am I to assume?
That we understand everything.
That you understand everything. Okay? Don't be like the girl you take on a date and you take her to a nice restaurant and, oh, I'll take water and a salad. Get the hell out of here. Okay? If you're going to go on a date, eat something. You know what I'm talking about, don't you guys? You know what
Hubert,
That's right, Hubert. That's
nowadays it's fries and water.
You are kidding me.
Or chicken, maybe 2 chicken fingers.
That's pretty accurate. I second that.
And knowing they're starving to death, they want to eat. Oh, I'll take water. Oh, God. Anyway, that drives me. I'll be like, okay, all right, check. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get in the truck and let's go. I'm taking you home.
Hubert, I off of that, I saw a picture, and I think it was a joke, but it was on a menu, and it had the very bottom, and it said, my girlfriend is not hungry, and it said small order of fries and a water was on the menu.
What restaurant was that at? A mom and pop restaurant?
I believe it was mom and pop. I just saw it online. I think it was mom and
Now
pop.
that's hilarious. I may be crazy, but I think if you go on a date and the girl orders a good meal and eats it, that's a good. That's just my opinion. All right.
Too.
So that is Ask My Instructor. Okay, Ask My Instructor. Now, again, my students should say my former students should testify that I will not judge you. I will not embarrass you. I will not do anything of that sort, because it takes two to tango. And if you want to learn in a classroom, the students have to ask questions and the teacher has to do their job. If the teacher don't want to do their job, they shouldn't be teaching. All right. So that takes care of all the help me solve this and all that good stuff, and how to get through the homework at home. And if you can't get through the homework, there's the animation. There's the computer graphic tutorial. I'll show you what it looks like. I don't know why it's not maximizing and why it's not playing. Why is it not playing? Damn Russians. Okay, maybe it'll play for y'all. I don't know why it's not playing for me. It's supposed to be taught, but it may just want you to do something.
Agony even.
Okay, click the buttons below to change the slope. Okay, they want you to change the slope. Okay, it's not working. So usually the animation is a video, a computer video with a voice behind it. That's what it usually is. But anyway, that's that. So you have all of the things to help you. And then if they don't help you, then you go to Ask My Instructor and we go over them the next day in class. Okay. Now, what happens? What about let's go ahead and talk about the hammies. Let's get this out of the way. First of all, I want to ask you a question. Who worries? What in the world was that noise? Somebody's hollering. Who worries about dates? Now that's not a raise your hand question. That's a question. Wait a minute. Did somebody send me? Hold on a second. Okay. All right. I'm looking. I thought I saw somebody send a message. What type of student worries about the dates? Anybody want to guess?
A procrastinator.
How'd you know that?
I don't know.
I don't know. You don't want to incriminate yourself. And I don't even know if I spelled that right. Somebody check me. A procrastinator. A procrastinator is the one that's always going to worry the teacher to death about dates. So I wanted to get that out there so that way you will not ask me about dates. What you do is you go to your handy dandy outline. I know I got 2 or 3 people out there. Damn it, I don't want to read the outline. Well, if you want to fail this class or you want to get a lot of emails without reply, don't read the outline, because each question you send me that has to do with the outline, I'm not going to respond to it. Okay? So with that being said, what happens, and this is for my former students that's had me in other classes, what happens when I get to R7, mathematical modeling and curving? What is going to happen on the next class period when I finish R7? I drink some vodka. Y'all figure out what I do. What happens when I get to R7? Come on, people. What does the outline say after R7?
Finish up and ask questions.
Say again? Finish up and ask questions. Okay, but what does that usually mean? Starts with a R
Review.
Test.
for the,
Test.
there we go. Takes cooperation, doesn't it? All right, review for the test. What do I usually do when I review for a test? Does anybody want to tell the class what I do when I review for a test?
Go over the whole test.
I go over the test. Now, I want everybody to write this down. When Hubert reviews the test, comma, he pulls up a version of the test. Why do I say a version? Anybody want to know? Anybody knows why I say a version?
Because they're all different. They all have different numbers and different
Exactly.
questions.
Because the test that I pull up will look like your test, but it won't be the same test. At the end of going over the test, I will assign dates for the test. Usually for the test, you have 1 week. You have 3 attempts. And takes the highest score. Now remember, this is all information I'm giving you. You ain't got sense enough to write it down. Don't come asking me these questions again. You usually have 5 days to take the test. You have 3 attempts, and the computer, I always fix my test to where they will have the highest grade recorded. Now, it's not going to sit there. Your grade book is not going to highlight the highest grade and say, we're going to use the highest grade. It's going to calculate the highest grade, and you're not going to see that. You're going to see all of your grades, but you're not going to see it actually pick the highest grade. It is using the highest grade in your calculations. What else will I do? Well, I will also assign the termination date for the unit homework. So all those procrastinators out there, there you go. I know, I'm a bastard. Because you don't like that. Why don't procrastinators like that answer? Because they don't know when to start working on their homework. This is the way it's supposed to go. Okay, for 90% of you, this is the way you will do this. Because the 10 to 20%, y'all are either not going to do it or you're going to procrastinate. Okay, this is how you're supposed to do it. When I go over R2, I'm going to say in class, okay, that takes care of R2. You should be able to do your homework. When I say those words, you should be able to do your homework, or you should be ready for R2 homework, or you should be working on R2 homework, that means by Thursday, you should have worked on R2 homework and started sending me questions on the R2 homework. And what happens if I get questions? What will I do? That means I want interaction here. That means I want somebody to say something.
You'll answer them when you get to when it gets sent to you.
Okay?
Ask
What
my
if on Thursday I don't get any questions back on R2
You're assuming that we understand it, and we're
and I'm moving on to
moving
what?
on to R4.
And I'm gonna move on to R4. I go over R4 on, let's say I go over R4 next Thursday and next Tuesday. Let's say R4 is too long for one class. And I go over R4 on Tuesday and Thursday. This is all makeup. This is all pretend, okay? Somebody's going, did you go over R4? Are you going over R4 Thursday? When did we go over R2? Okay, this is all pretend. All right, R4 I go over on Tuesday or Thursday and Tuesday. Then what am I expecting Tuesday? Questions. I'm expecting questions. If I don't receive questions on Tuesday, then I'm moving on to what? R5. When I get to R7, what should everybody be thinking about?
Getting ready for the test.
Okay, when I get to R7, somebody sends me an R2. What does that tell me as a teacher?
They have no idea where they are.
Exactly, and they are procrastinating. They're doing the procrastinating thing and trying to do all the homework while I'm on R7. Am I going to answer that R2 question? Hail to the no.
Probably not.
I will tell students to see me for office hours. I'm not going to enable procrastination in my class. I'm not going to reward procrastination in my class. Now, there are some extenuating circumstances. Let's say Mr. Abdallah falls in a ditch and breaks his leg, and he's up for 2 or 3 days in the hospital. That's different, okay? That's different. It's just like anything else. You got to be professional. You got to let me know so I can say, okay, well, I'll extend your homework or whatever. Okay, that's an emergency. That's something that happened, all right? I'm talking about nothing has happened. You're supposed to be working as I go. As I finish, I say, okay, you're ready for R6 homework. That means the next time we meet, you should have either questions sent to me or at least 70 to 75% of R6 homework done. Because that's what I use. I use the questions, or you are not sending me questions, as a gauge for the class. If you don't send me questions, I'm going to move on to the next section. If you send me questions, I'm going to hold and I'm going to do those questions and then go to the next section. Now, I want everybody to understand that, because if you send me R2 questions while I'm finishing up R7, that's putting a sign around your neck that says I waited until the last minute to do the homework. Question. And that's the way I do things. Okay, now I'm going to open it up for questions. Who's got questions on anything having to do with the class procedures, or My Labs math? Open it up now. Oh, come on. You gonna tell me that I covered it that well? I don't believe it. Nobody's got any questions about anything having to do with class, anything. Okay, so let's look at the review. Nobody's got any questions. The homework says R2, R4, R5, R6. Mr. Wiggins, what's your question?
To this date, I just want to, because I'm really bad at time management. I guess you could say I'm a procrastinator.
Okay, what's your question? Okay, what happened to him? I
Logan-
think he muted
Logan,
himself.
you're
Oh, my,
muted.
my bad, my bad. I was wondering
fine.
exactly where we are on the unit review homework wise. Are we?
We haven't
having
done
interviews
anything yet.
class? Okay,
Now, I
cool.
told y'all, okay, right now I'm starting to go into R2 because I've told y'all that y'all should be reading and trying, try playing with the homework. That's new to enough. I mean, trying to do some of the homework problems is not bad. In fact, I guarantee you, let's look right quick. I guarantee you that some people have just been doing kind of pot shot probably. Let me go and pull up your class, make sure I'm in the right class. And I'm going to pull up the homework. I'm just going to, not to embarrass anybody, I'm just going to show you that I guarantee you some people have done maybe one section of homework and skipped to another homework. See? No, nobody's done anything. Well, a couple of people have done some sections, and that's fine. Nobody doing sections, that's fine, because I haven't started. I think you should be reading. I think you should be reading right now R2 and R3. I think you should be doing that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to start right now. Since nobody's asking any questions, I'm going to start with the math right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the handy dandy e-text. Okay, I got to get out of here, go to e-text. And I'm going to pull up R2 and e-text and look and see what R2 has in it. And what's important. R2, functions and models. What the heck is a function? All right, here we go. What is a function? Okay, that's nice. I decided to go in and out. Damn Russians. I would say China, but China's for real. So I don't want to make fun of China because they are a threat. Okay, so I hope this is all right. So what is a function? I have to set this thing on manual. I don't know why the autofocus doesn't work, but there you go. What is a function? Well, there's such a thing called an ice machine. And an ice machine, what goes into an ice machine?
Water.
I wanted somebody to interact with me, but that's okay.
Water.
All right. And what comes out?
Ice.
Ice.
Well, let's say, not that y'all know what a funnel is, but let's say that I take a funnel and I put a funnel instead of a water spigot, I put a funnel right here and I pour in 5 gallons of cherry Kool-Aid. Five gallons of cherry Kool-Aid. If I put in 5 gallons of cherry Kool-Aid, what am I going to get out on this end?
Cherry Kool-Aid ice.
I'm going to get 5 gallons of cherry Kool-Aid ice. Well, let's say I'm weird, and let's say that I want to put in 5 gallons of lime Kool-Aid. If I put in 5 gallons, Walter, will you fix that blind right there? So hold on a second. See that blind is crooked. Would you fix it, please? 5 gallons of lime Kool-Aid, then I'm going to get 5 gallons of what? 5
Lime
gallons
Kool-Aid
of
ice.
lime what?
Basically,
Ice.
cherry limeade.
Well, no, not at the same time. It's different. Different times. Not at the same time. But I appreciate you thinking in the PJ sort of, way. All right. So you got 5 gallons of lime Kool-Aid. If I put in, anybody want to name a flavor? Let's say grape. Because that's cherry and grape's the best ones anyway. If I put in 5 gallons of grape Kool-Aid, then I'm going to get 5 gallons of grape ice. All right? Now, I want somebody to tell me what these 3 things represent. You've got the water, you've got the ice machine, and you've got the ice. I want you to tell me what they represent as written in reference to each other.
Inputs and outputs.
Yeah.
Good
Input.
job. I am impressed.
You
You
beat
are
me
a
to it.
winner. Input and output. So I'm going to put input on this side. And I'm going to put output on this side. Somebody else give me some other names for input and output. Just think of your past algebra courses. Anybody got any names that they can put in for input and output? Going once? Going twice? What did I put there? X. So what is output?
Y.
What's another name for X and Y?
Independent and dependent.
Good job. Independent and dependent. And remember, you can't have ice if you don't have water. That's how you know the difference between independent and dependent. You can't have profit if you don't have what? Cost. You can't make money unless you what?
Spend money.
Spend money. All right. One more thing. Somebody give me the D and the R word. Anybody? I gave you a hint. One starts with D and the other with R.
Domain and range.
Domain and range. Will this range ever exceed this domain? Yes or no? Will I ever get out more than 5 gallons of cherry ice, or more than 5 gallons of lime ice, or more than 5 gallons of grape ice? Yes or no?
No.
No.
No. Your range can never exceed your domain. If you put in 5 gallons of cherry Kool-Aid, you're going to get 5 gallons or less of cherry ice. You're not going to get 6 gallons. Well, unless you're running for president, you might get, if there's 5 million voters, you might get 6 million votes. But anyway, make sure you understand that the range, did y'all catch that? I didn't know you caught that or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Range will never exceed the domain. All right. So that leaves this guy. Well, if this is the domain and this is the range, this is X, this is Y, what the heck is this guy? The ice machine is the function. So now we can tell you, we know what a function is. The function is what puts the input, churns it through, and makes it the output. You could say the same thing with gas, car, exhaust, or transportation, depending on what you're looking for. You could say the same thing with grass, hay baler, hay. You could say the same thing with foot, your feet and your legs, feet, legs, bicycle, moving. Because if you get on a bicycle and it's not modified and you don't have any legs, and that's nothing to be, you know, if either you have legs or you don't, just the bicycle is going to fall down unless you have a modified bicycle that you can run with your hands. Okay, that's the whole point. If you don't have any water, you ain't got no what? Ice. If you don't have any grass, you don't have no hay. If you don't have any gas, you ain't got no transportation. And the function is the car, the hay baler, the ice machine, or the bicycle, or X input, 2X plus 6, Y. That is a function. Now, what algebra teachers don't tell you is they don't make the transition. Hold on just a second. You got to do is just move the chair. Much rocket science. Sorry. Okay. They don't make the transition between this because everybody in the classroom, y'all are like, oh, I understand that. Okay. Y is equal to 2X plus 3. Y is equal to the square root of X minus 2. Y is equal to 1 over X plus 6. Here, the X or the domain is all real numbers. All real numbers. The Y is all real numbers. Why? Because this is a function, X to the first, X to the second, X to the third, X to the fourth, X to the fifth. You can plug in anything you want to those functions. This is X to the first. That's always going to be true with that. Here, you can't have a negative number under the radical. So you have to say X minus 2 is equal to 0. X cannot equal anything, or it's got to be, if you put a 2 in there, you're going to get 0. If you put a 1 in there, you're going to get negative. You're going to get 0, you're going to get negative. So X has to be greater than or equal to 2. So the domain here, your 5-gallon bucket, is X is greater than or equal to 2. There's your 5-gallon bucket. Your result, if I plug in a 2 here, I'm going to get 0. So my range, my 5 gallons of ice, is going to be 0 to infinity. Because when I plug in that 2, when I plug in 2, I get 0. When I plug in 3, I get 1. When I plug in 4, I get what? 4 minus 2 is 2, 1.41. When I plug in 5, I get 5 minus 2 is 3, 1.7, and so on. So my domain, my 5-gallon bucket is greater than 2. My 5 gallons of ice is above 0, and that is my ice machine. This is my ice machine. Here, I can't have 6 because you can't have 0 in the denominator. So I can use all negatives and all positives, but I cannot use 6. So there's my domain. My range is all the numbers, -3, -4, -5. I can plug all those in. I just can't plug in 6 because 6 will give me an unknown function at 6. So I can use all real numbers except for 6. So this is my ice machine. All 3 of these is my ice machine, and your input and output is your range and domain. Now I'm going to stop right there because I've run out of time, and some of y'all will start convulsing and spontaneously convulsing. So I better stop. And I guarantee you $1 to a donut, unless you've had me before, you've never seen an ice machine in math class. Have you? If you have, that person had me as a student or sat in my class somewhere, somewhat, I do have people out there that went into teaching. Y'all know James Walker that teaches 101 and 102? He was one of my students. But anyway, I'll shut up now. And I'm going to hit, I got to hit that and take off the recorder. And